Why wouldn't I expand my mind? It's the only power I got. What is up, beautiful people? It's your girl KayyG, and this is my first book review. I am super excited. Thank you for your interest in joining. I love to read. I love to gain as much knowledge as I can to help expand my growth and my creativity and my wisdom and my knowledge. And I love to push that on to the world in my own perspective. So that's the reason why I'm doing book reviews. They always say, you know, do what you're most good at, what you'll do for free, you know, what you'll spend your money on. And I could be flat broke and I'll spend my money on a book. I love reading. I love to learn. And so what I want to do is bring you guys my knowledge, what I've gained, my perspective on the books that I read and how I incorporate it or plan to incorporate it in my life. And maybe you guys could take from what I say and either go purchase the book, find the book. I'm going to make sure I leave every link for you guys so you can find the book with ease. I'm actually looking to partner with Audible so you guys can have some discounts to go ahead and listen to the book if you're not a big book reader, because a lot of us are not. So what I want to do is just bring a fresh, different kind of energy when it comes to just like studying books and the things that help expand our growth. So thank you again for tuning in, and let's jump right into this. So today we're going to talk about The 4 Agreements by Miguel Ruiz. This book actually got a lot of hype. Like when I first posted this book saying that I was reading it, I got a lot of DMs saying it was a good book, you're gonna enjoy it, let me know. I got a lot of commentary when it came to this book, so I was super excited when I was like starting to read it, right? Loved it. So what Don does in this book is give us 4 agreements, right? 4 agreements that help us pretty much construct our behaviors in a more inner peaceful kind of way, which is technically what we always look for if you're trying to just have the best life that you can have, right? All right, so here's my take on the book. So let me just give you guys the 4 agreements. I'm gonna just sum it up. I don't want to give any spoilers. I really want you guys to go and read this book, or at least go listen to this book, okay? But I'm going to give you the 4 agreements and just kind of like my viewpoint on how he perceives it to me, right? So the first agreement, he says to be impeccable with your words. Now, this is something that I've heard many times before. I'm a big believer about what you speak, you are putting out into the world, and so those things come back to you. So I definitely agree with that. But a lot of people do not understand how vital that is in their life, to be prominent with their words, to speak in a strong, fierce, gratifying, loving way to yourself and to the world, and how much of that you receive back. So that's my perspective on being impeccable with your words. Don goes deep into detail about it, and what I like most about his writing is because he really describes what it is that he's trying to say in many different ways, very detailed, but very much understandable. You like many times while I was reading this book, I was like, oh yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? So I like books that make me do those things, and this book for sure made me do that a lot, okay? So to be impeccable with your words is vital. Then he goes into the second agreement where he says don't take anything personally. To be honest with you guys, like me growing up, I see, and even myself as a victim of it, everything that everybody does, we take things personally, and we cause ourselves so much mental chaos when we take things personally. Somebody could literally be having a frustrating day. You know, someone could really not be feeling love or not be just feeling their best for whatever reason that may be. And they may project that on the outside unknowingly or unconsciously, or not trying to, but just in that mood. And they put it on to somebody else, And the thing about it is, energy is just transferred. So when you bring that energy out and somebody else decides to receive that, like, you alter your whole frequency. You alter your whole frequency when you decide to take things in personally. I mean, I suggest just analyzing the situation, not really putting yourself in a situation, in an equation, but taking yourself out of an equation, especially if you're not liking the stance points that you're in, right? That was a mouthful. So what Don goes in is describes how much freedom you just naturally get in your life by not taking things personally. And it's so overwhelmingly gratifying to actually think about all the people that possibly could not have been having such a good day, that approached you in a way that you disapproved of, and it really transferred onto you and made you feel a way that you don't want to feel, right? Like, when you think about that, and you think about practicing not taking things personally, and how that just clears up so much mental clutter, that's an amazing habit to build. From as long as I can remember, everyone around me always took things personally. It's kind of like a way of the normal life, but I think that we owe it to ourselves to try to not take things personally when we are in any kind of situation, to be honest. So Don really dives into his perspective of that, and practices on how to help you get to that point, and different examples to give you those aha moments. So that was agreement number 2. Agreement number 3 was don't make assumptions. So that for me kind of tied in with agreement number 2. When you think about it, we walk through life with our own frame, our own picture, our own perceptions of how things should be, what you approve of, disapprove of, things like that, what you want. But when we put those perceptions onto other people and expect or assume that they should be in a slot that we have created in our own minds, and it doesn't turn out to be that way, and then we end up in a mood that's very confusing, right? And that's when a lot of disagreements come in when it comes to relationships, friendships, and things like that, because we make so many assumptions. When I was reading this, my take on it was be in control of my own life and know the things that I want and do not want, know my life's principles and how I move, and what I decide that I want to receive and what I decide that I want to put out. And when I vibrate with a different energy that I'm surrounded by, if it doesn't align with my morals for my life, then it's whatever. I don't have room or want to assume anything. Instead, open my ears and speak to ask those questions to really see if it even aligns with my livelihood, And I think that would free me from so much confusion, So that was my perception on agreement number 3 and not making assumptions. But Don goes in and he talks about how it sounds easy to not make assumptions, but how it really is a difficult habit to break. So definitely wrap your heads around that, and I think that it will help a lot of us if we just didn't make assumptions and just kind of drove our own plane and accepted, the kindness and the love that people want to bring into your plane, but it has to work with your plane, and if it's not there, you still in deep gratitude about your personal plane. I don't know if that makes sense. In my mind it makes sense, but that's how I perceive the 3rd agreement. So the 4th agreement, he goes into always do your best. Now that may sound simple, but look, this one hit home for me, to always do your best. I don't know about y'all, but a lot of entrepreneurs go through things like this. Are you doing too much or you not doing enough? Where's the balance? I question that all the time when I'm like doing anything. The worst part is I could really get into my head with that question. But Don enlightened me in such a divine way of making me see that as long as I'm doing my best, because not all the time, I could have 4 major projects or 3 major projects to do in a day, and I only get through 1.5. But if that 1.5 was my best and I just couldn't get to the other part of it, as long as I did my best, I have to be happy and grateful for the opportunity to do my best. And that's what I took from agreement number 4. Always do your best. And so when you read it, you know, and you start to think about how it touches different points in your life, like that's the magical part of, you know, getting the perceptions of other people, you know, and that's why I like reading. That's really why I like reading. So I definitely recommend this book, The 4 Agreements. Don goes into deep detail, gives tips, he advises, he gets scientific with things, but it's definitely an easy read. I loved it, I enjoyed it. So those are the 4 agreements that Don presents in this book, which I feel like once you dig in and really just digest them, it could aid in the growth of how you just perceive people and things and situations. Now, that actually brings me to this last point here. There's one specific notion that Don kind of introduces at the beginning of the book, and that's just how we're all born into this perception, how we're all just mirrors of each other, right? Now, it's interesting to me because, you know, when we grow up, right, and we have our parents or whoever we're around kind of influence us on how to grow based off of what they know, their perception. We grow into this person based off of the perception of the people that we're around. And some people abide by that livelihood and they haven't really just developed or dug into their deep or inner persona, that real true person. So now they're trying to fit into this thing that's really not them. And so you're kind of mentally battling who I am versus who I should be. And it's just a lack of just digging deep. It's a lack of digging deep. It's a lack of acknowledging that you can be more or anything that you want to be, and that the person that you truly are, unless that person excels itself, unless that person brings forth that energy to the world, then you will never really truly be happy, because you are just living in what you were born into. And so that was an incredibly beautiful notion that he put in the book. I was really intrigued when I was reading that. He really goes into it, and it's just, he's so clear and precise with the way that he details things, and it just makes you think. And he kind of flows through that notion throughout the entirety of this book, and that's why I like this so much, and that's why I actually recommend this book. So a lot of highlights, a lot of gems in this book. It's a quick read. I finished this book in about 1.5 weeks, 2 weeks. I went to the park and read it. I read this book while I was outside a lot of the times on my patio, things like that. So I had a good experience reading this book, and it's cheap, it's not expensive. I'll go ahead and drop the link and the details on where you can find this book. I was gifted with this book. Thank you, Brittany. Shout out to Brittany Walker-Craig, my consultant, my mentor, my friend. You are awesome. She gifted me this book for my birthday. But I will drop the link to where you can find this book and read it for yourself, and hopefully you could get Audible to get on board so you could maybe listen to it if you're not a big fan of reading but more of a listener. So we'll see. But nonetheless, that sums up this book review. I hope that you guys liked it, and if you did, I'd appreciate the support by smashing that like button. And if you really did learn something and gain some knowledge, got inspired in any kind of way from this video, share it. Share it with your family, your friends, your creative partner. Really spread the message. That will help these videos grow and allow us to continue to spread positivity to the masses. And that's all it's about, right? That's all it's about, just growth and learning and sharing and just being happy in who you are. And also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel or my website, what are you waiting for? Anytime I post another book review, a vlog, a blog, conversations with other creatives and like-minded individuals, you will be updated. Be in the know, stay plugged in, and keep showing up, all right? So again, I'm KG, and I appreciate the love. You guys be easy. Peace.